there's some strategies that we can deploy, pricing deadlines, prices going up, things like that, that can help push people over the edge a little bit. But more and more we're finding, surprisingly, it's not always about price. It's about making that commitment early on. People just don't want to commit quite yet to what their plans are going to be. And so it can be difficult.
You're tuned in to the Event Gems podcast, the podcast where coaches, consultants, and speakers learn how to produce transformational and profitable events. I'm your host, Natasha Wright, Chief Experience Curator at the Diamond Butterfly. Join me and other industry experts as we teach you how to maximize the power of your next brand building event. Time to drop those gems. Let's fly.
Hey Trailblazers, welcome to another episode of Event Gems. In our last episode, we spoke with Andy Henriquez about the power of storytelling in marketing your event and business. In this episode, we're shifting gears to dive into strategic digital marketing tactics with Ashley Stanford, an expert with over 15 years of experience. As the EVP of Client Strategy at TicketSocket and the VP and co-founder of Ice Cream Social, Ashley shares insights on leveraging word-of-mouth marketing, building pre-launch buzz, and maintaining momentum to maximize event attendance. If you're looking to get more butts in seats at your next event, then you're in the right place. But before we dive into the episode, are you hosting your first event and feeling overwhelmed? I totally get it. That's exactly where I was when I was hosting my first event, which is why I created the Diamond in the Rough Event Host Guide to help you go from confusion to clarity. This guide comes with videos and worksheets to help you plan with confidence so you can focus on truly creating a memorable experience. Now let's dive into the episode. Hey, Ashley, welcome to the Event Gems podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I am so excited to dive into this whole conversation today because one of the things that people are always having on their minds when they think of hosting events or organizing events is how am I going to get butts in seats? How am I going to get people to come? That can always be a source of anxiety for not only clients that I work with, but people who are also hosting events. So I'm excited for us to dive into this conversation and talk a little bit more about how we can maximize attendance to our events. But before we dive into that piece of it, how did you get into digital marketing and how did you find your sweet spot?
Sure. Candidly, I got into digital marketing because that was really the only subject I did well in high school. We had a marketing club program that I joined. And I really enjoyed that. And straight out of high school, I began doing digital marketing and never looked back.
I love that. I love that. So you hone in on something, you're like, wait a minute, I think I'm really good at this thing. So let me go full force ahead. It's interesting that you found that at such an early age. Marketing, I didn't even really know what marketing was until maybe I went to college and probably not even until after college when I just started my first job. So I think it's so interesting that you found that passion very early on. How did you get into actually working with events in terms of the digital marketing that you did previously? Was it events focus right out the gate with your career or were you working in different industries prior?
Sure. In the beginning of my career, I worked with all different types of industries. And once I began to hone into certain industries, I was focused for many years in medical device and fintech. And after doing that for about 10 years, word of mouth came my way. I picked up a few event clients. I started working really closely with a company called TicketSocket to support their clients in marketing. And they're just a white label ticketing company. So that's how I really got into the world of events. And it was so different from working in fintech or medical device because in working in an industry like medical device, you're doing a lot of business to consumer marketing, although your customers actually a lot of times like doctors. So you're a B2B business, but you're doing B2C marketing, and you're never actually able to tie back whether a consumer becomes a customer or not because of, things like HIPAA and compliance and whatnot. And that's the part of marketing I didn't enjoy. Just trying to figure out what you're doing is actually
is this working? Exactly.
So once I got into events and I could see, okay, directly send out one email, send out a text, run a Facebook ad, and see those sales come in and know exactly day to day, what my return on spend is on any marketing channel. That was just really satisfying for me. And so I decided to spend more time in the event space.
I've never worked in fintech or within the medical industry, but I'm imagining that working within the entertainment space is also a little bit more fun. So not only do you get a little bit more data on and seeing the results from the work that you're doing, but also have a little bit more fun. That's one of my core values is gotta have some fun. When I was reading your bio, one of the things that really stood out is around word of mouth marketing. And when I thought about it, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Word of mouth marketing in this now digital time. Because I remember when I was planning my first event, and that was before I was even really on social media. I was on there, but I was really only playing Farmville. Oh, when I was planning my first event, I was out in the streets. I was going to different events. I had flyers printed. I was anybody who looked like somebody who could come to my event, I was giving them a flyer. I was sending out text messages to people that I knew. And so when I read that and I saw word of mouth marketing, I'm like, oh, like that was something I was doing back in the day. But now that we have social media, I have definitely gone away from that, even though I feel like it still works, right? Because you get that face-to-face contact with people. But I thought, how do you make that work in the digital world that we live in now? Is it the same thing? Are you just sending out text messages to people, collecting information? So just give us a little bit more insight into how that works from your perspective.
Sure. So I have always been a big fan of word of mouth marketing. It's how I built my
Mhm.
business. And just like you, early on in my career, I was out there networking. I was going to, your local chamber mixers or a local BNI chapter group, whatever it was. Like I was a big fan of networking, that face to face component. And just naturally, I was pulled into this space of digital marketing and social media marketing primarily, and seeing all these influencers working very closely with a lot of influencers. And I was trying to find a way to really bridge this gap with word of mouth marketing. And what I came to realize over the years is every single person is an influencer in their own right. Even if they
Mhm.
don't have any sort of social media presence in any way. If you think about your circle of people, maybe it's your parents, uh, someone who's just not on social media, or at least he has a profile but doesn't post or anything, they can still have an influence in your life. You're still talking to them on the phone or in person.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of where word of mouth marketing can really differ from influencer marketing online. And what I've been working to build is something that helps facilitate that. How do you take a person who's not a quote unquote influencer and empower them to still share things that they love with people that they're talking to in their daily lives through things like email, SMS, whatever the case may be, whatever they are actively on digitally.
I think that that's such an interesting concept that you talked about that anyone could be an influencer, because I think a lot of times when we do think of influencers, we're thinking about someone who has a large platform, whether that be socially or otherwise, right? But when you're talking about, your grandmother could be an influencer, or your friend could
Yeah.
be, that really connects with me because you know people around you in your circle of influence, right? That you can connect with and help you to spread the word or share the message of your event? How do you strategize on who specifically within your circle of influence you should be reaching out to with the word of mouth marketing aspect of it? And how tactically do you do that? Are you sending out text messages saying, hey, friend, I'm having this upcoming event. Here are some things that is going to be happening for it. Here's a link. If you know anyone who might be interested, please have them register. So tactically, can you walk us through how that would be most effective?
Sure. So, taking the standpoint of a business who's putting on an event, the first thing you want to do to really activate this word of mouth marketing is with your existing database. So whether you're an event or a product that's being sold online, the first thing you want to do is talk to your existing customer base. And however you can reach them, whatever, form of communication you have with them, maybe it is email, maybe it is SMS, maybe it's a Facebook group, whatever the case may be, you want to reach out to them and ask for referrals, essentially. Because they're your customers. They love your product or your event or whatever the case may be. They're going to know other people who would also like it. So they're your best source to get that lowest cost per acquisition for your customers. So you really want to focus on activating that existing database. I have a tool called Ice Cream Social and essentially just helps facilitate that. So a lot of times what we'll do with events is someone will buy their ticket and on that confirmation page, which is prime real estate, no matter what kind of e-commerce business you have, that confirmation page, you're probably starting to notice that now brands really taking advantage of it. They might give you a quick upsell offer, add this to your cart at a discount, maybe see like Rakuten get shown after you've purchased tickets or something. There's all kinds of things happening now on the confirmation page. But the idea there's a lot of science behind that. One, you just gave someone your credit card. So there's a level of trust. One, so there's that trust level. Two, there's that level of ease because depending on the kind of upsell or upgrade or whatever is happening, you don't have to re-enter the card information. So it's kind of like, already on file. But particular case for events, what we found is as soon as somebody buys a ticket, that's when they're most excited to tell their friends, their family that they're going because it's locked in and they want to share this experience with people they love. So this is the best time to essentially ask them to invite their friends. And so we help facilitate that with a widget that allows them to share in whatever method works for them. Of course, they can share via social media. But again, a lot of people aren't always on social media or don't use that as their main form of communication. So making it so easy for people to text, email, whatever the case may be, giving them pre-populated messages, giving them a pre-populated message with a discount code in it to share with their friends, their own unique tracking URL, just basically making it so easy for them to get their friends and family to go with them.
I love that. I love that tool because number one, it takes the guesswork out of actually passing the word along. And number two, it also incentivizes them because they're sharing it, they're giving a discount to their friends or their family members. Is there something set up that they are going to be incentivized as well on the back end of it?
Yes, great question. So the other aspect of Ice Cream Social that makes it work so well with events is we also, gamify it in a way. So there will be an offer custom to the event, how it relates to ticket price demographics. So the offer might be something along the lines of, hey, if you get 3 friends to go with you, we'll actually refund you for your ticket. Because in times, the cost to refund someone for their ticket is such a low cost per acquisition than trying to acquire a completely new customer via a social media ad. And so asking people for those referrals and incentivizing for them works really well. Also, a lot of people will get 1 friend or 2 friends to buy, but not everyone's getting the full reward. So you're also not necessarily giving out all these refunds or cash back, or some people even give free swag. It's completely up to you.
Yeah. And even if someone does bring in 5 people and you give them a refund for their ticket, they brought in 4 people that probably would have otherwise not even known about your event, purchased ticket. It works out even better for the event organizer. And I did look at the website and the pricing for this type of service is not astronomical. And so I didn't get into the nitty-gritty of the pricing tier. So I think that it's a great entry point for people to be able to utilize this platform that's not only going to gamify registration for your attendees, but it's also going to be another avenue for you marketing your events as well. In terms of the platform, let's say, for example, I have my event landing page on Kajabi or I have it on Wix. Is it technology that can be integrated within my existing platform, or would I have to build out my landing page through Ice Cream Social?
Great question. So most of the time, it easily integrates to whatever tool you're already using. So that's a
Okay.
pretty cool process to get up and running. And
Mhm.
as far as pricing, the website's a little outdated. We actually do not, in rare cases, we don't usually charge subscription fees anymore. So
Oh,
you ice
even
cream social
better.
cost. Yeah. There's a lot of ways that we can give you ice cream social at no cost whatsoever to you. Or
Okay.
in some cases, what we'll do is act more like an affiliate for your event or business. And we will only charge you, let's say, a 10% commission on any sales that we bring in directly through Ice Cream Social links. So if Ice Cream
Okay.
Social doesn't work for you, then you don't pay for it. That's not usually the case. We, work closely together to make sure it does work for you. But you don't have to worry about another subscription fee like all your other marketing channel costs.
That's even better, right?
Yeah.
Because it's if it doesn't work, then you don't pay. And one of the things that I love that you shared about is that the platform provides a template. So there will be, I'm guessing, like a script that people can just copy and paste and text out to their friends with their unique affiliate link and the information that someone might need in order for them to register. That's such a great marketing feature because it's reduces friction. Is it possible to do affiliate marketing for a speaker who they're not registering for the event, they're not purchasing a ticket, but you can utilize them as affiliates as well? Is that possible with the platform?
Yeah, definitely. It is a way to mostly activate your existing customers to bring in more customers
Yeah.
for you. We have had clients use it as a sort of affiliate system. So there are ways
Love it.
to do that. Essentially, if your ticketing platform does not have an affiliate system. And then thirdly, we found a lot of clients will use it to identify potential influencers they could team up with to create content to promote their event. So they'll go into their ice cream social dashboard and see, okay, whoa, this person has brought in 300 people to my website and converted 10 sales already. Let's dive to these people personally and see if they want to team up for a bigger campaign.
I was listening to another interview that you did, and you were talking about this idea of thinking about launching or pre-launching your event. And one of the things that stuck out to me was when you said, all right, you should have an opening night for your event. And I love that because once you said opening night, I immediately thought of concerts where they drum up and let you know tickets are going on sale on this particular day. Can you talk a little bit about that pre-marketing strategy or pre-launching before your event, having a specified date that you're saying tickets are now on sale and how you've seen success with that particular strategy?
Yes, definitely. I'm sure we've all seen this work really well for musical artists, music
Yeah.
festivals, where if you're interested, you give them your information, your name, email, phone number, and then leading up to the day that they go on sale, they'll continue to remind you, hey, don't forget, we're going on sale this day, this time. Check your email. We're going to have a pre-sale code for you, or whatever the case may be. That works really, really well. As you've noted, you'll go to the site. There's probably a queue to get in line to buy tickets, or it's just a great way to build buzz. So to me, that's a fundamental piece of a digital marketing strategy for events is that on sale date. When are you going on sale? And for weeks leading up to you going on sale, you want to be doing a lot of marketing beforehand, PR, social media ads, all kinds of things that are driving people to essentially a lead generation form where you are capturing their name, phone number, email at the very least, and making sure you put them essentially into a drip campaign where they're getting all kinds of communications, retargeting ads, emails, calendar reminders, text messages. There's a whole list of things that I'll put into place when working with the client on this on sale strategy. And all of it is meant to drive that FOMO of why they want to get tickets on the day you go on sale. Now, some events just don't have that factor where it's going to sell out on the first day, like it's for a lot of musical artists or music festivals. But there's other things that you can do, like special priced tickets that are only available that day you go on sale, or special upgrades that are only available, add-ons, that sort of thing. So we figure out what's that package that we want to promote to make it so enticing for someone to buy on that on sale date instead of waiting. The purpose of that is a couple things. One, the cost to acquire a lead is so much more inexpensive than the cost to acquire a customer. Depending on the type of event audience, you could be paying 50 cents to $1 for a lead, but the cost to acquire a customer could easily cost you 20, 50, $100 if you're tracking that return on ad spend for, whatever your different marketing channels are. So you want to have a database that you only paid $1 for each person and really focus on nurturing them in other channels. And then secondly, for anyone who's put on an event, you're wearing a lot of hats. It can be very stressful because there's a lot of planning that goes involved to putting on an event far outside of marketing. And to have a really great on sale date can be very helpful in just getting enough funds established to help you pay for expenses leading up to the event. So it can also relieve a little bit of pressure from the sales cycle.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things that I've always said, that I feel like there's always a gap when I'm working with clients, that clients, they have the vision, like they know what the content is, they know what the transformation is that they'd love to provide for their attendees and in the space that they love to create for their attendees. But then there's this gap right in between before the execution part of the actual event happens, where that marketing piece. And so a lot of things might come up for people around it. It's, I don't even want to go live on social media, or I feel whatever goes along with showing up and promoting the event. And so what you talked about is a low cost way for someone who might not necessarily want to be showing up on live every single day to promote or talk about this event, but there's a low cost option that is a lighter lift through ads, if you know how to do ads properly, or if you have someone who could support you with doing those ads, where you can acquire the leads for a fraction of the cost, because it's easier for someone to provide you with their name, email address, phone number versus selling, tickets to your event, which is $500 or up or even less, right? Well, let's say for someone who they're not as versed in ads or they don't feel comfortable taking it on, they don't have the budgets to do ads. What are some other ways that they could build that pipeline, build that awareness about their event, bringing those leads without ads? Is there a particular strategy that you might have for that?
Well, you still want that lead generation portion. So a landing page where people can give you their information, and then just focus on those marketing channels that are already successful for you. So again, if you have activating that database you already have, wherever that is, if that is an email list, really nurture that, get them to re-opt in, to be interested in saying, yes, I want this event. And then again, ask one, who else do you think might be interested in this event? Share this with them. Let them be first to know when we go on sale, just like you. Maybe you're very active in a Facebook group, like wherever you have that strong marketing channel, continue to nurture it and leverage that the best way that you can if you have any type of ads.
Yeah. So what I hear is use what you have to get what you want. Right. So if you have an existing email list, then why not activate that email list? Even though they're on your email list, even though they're already a part of your community, having them double opt in and say, now I am interested in this event. Having someone double confirm, just utilizing organic marketing on social media. If you're part of groups, you can utilize those avenues that you currently already have. The other thing I've noticed is that once everything started opening up right after COVID, there has been a flood of events. So a lot of persons or business owners who might have been digital online business owners and had never hosted their event before, now they're hosting events. Now they're building community because we've all realized the importance of building community as a result of being locked down for what felt like eternity. Recognize how important it is for us to not only build community, but also how important face-to-face interactions are and how that could additionally build trust, loyalty, and credibility with your existing clients or potential clients. And so what's happening is there is a lot of competition in the market. So what I loved about what you talked about is bringing people on opening night, bringing as many people as you could possibly can, drum up that excitement, because what I've been seeing as people are waiting until the last minute to register for events. And so that has been a challenge for a lot of event organizers. It puts them on pins and needles because to wait until the last week or 2 weeks before to get a lot of your registrations in, especially when you have to pay out vendors and things like that, could add to the stress. On the one hand, is deploying that open night strategy, that pre-marketing or pre-launch strategy. But also, what are some other things after that launch that people should be, or event organizers or event hosts should be thinking about to get people in quicker than the week before, 2 weeks before? And also, have you been seeing that same type of shift in the market where people are waiting longer to actually register for events?
Yeah, great question. It has for sure been difficult to do event marketing in a post-COVID world. Because of that, there's so much competition for time. Even if you think an event doesn't compete with you because it's different, it does. You're still competing for people's time and attention. So you are still up against a lot. And that's why that on sale strategy is so important, just to help you with cash flow. Because in all the years I've been doing event marketing, even before COVID and after COVID, there is just no getting around the fact that a majority of your sales are going to come in the last 2 weeks, which can be extremely stressful because you just don't know how those last 2 weeks are going to pan out. And so,
Oh my gosh, exactly.
That in between phase of going on sale, if you do an on sale strategy and the event date, can for sure be difficult. There's some strategies that we can deploy, pricing deadlines, prices going up, things like that, that can help push people over the edge a little bit. But more and more we're finding, surprisingly, it's not always about price. It's about making that commitment early on. People just don't want to commit quite yet to what their plans are going to be. And so it can be difficult. One thing I suggest is just during that particular period, again, this depends on a lot of factors, like what type of event that you have and your audience. But a lot of times we'll pull back on marketing budget during that kind of plateau period. And, we'll heavy up in the beginning and then we'll heavy up at the end, because there's not always getting around that double bell curve of sales. For a majority of events, there's always certain events that are the exception to the rule. But yeah, that's a reality of putting on events.
A lot of events will say, get the early birds. But if people are not committed that far in advance, then for them, the cost is not that much of a factor.
Right.
And a lot of ticket prices are structured such that it's non-refundable. So if I spend $300 on a ticket and it's non-refundable, I'd much rather wait until 2 weeks before, a week before, I know for sure I can go and spend the extra $100. And that brings me to another point. There needs to be a deeper
incentives. So it might not necessarily be the price per se, but maybe it's a value. So what I've seen some events do is they might have different workshops that are not going to be offered at the actual event that are being offered if you purchase your ticket earlier. So are there any other incentives that you might recommend in the front end of that marketing process to really bring people in further?
Yeah, that's something that I'll definitely brainstorm with a lot of the clients I work with. And again, it depends on the event. I work with conferences, I work with circuses, lantern festivals, music festivals. So everyone has different offering opportunities. One thing that you mentioned about committing but not getting a refund, that's something I always encourage them is there needs to be a refund policy. Um, and that can be difficult for an event. So the best thing you can do is team up with a company that does ticketing insurance, which might be a couple extra dollars to the customer and that's so worth it. That way you're not put at risk if they can't make it, but the customer can still get their money back, things like that. And
That's
check out that
fantastic.
that increased conversion. Another strategy that we'll deploy is we'll look at what opportunities are available after someone buys a ticket. Because after they buy a ticket, we don't want the sale to end, especially during that plateau period. So a lot of marketing tools I work with now really allow you to be granular in the information you have on your customers. So oftentimes, after someone makes a purchase, we'll send that purchase data back to a CRM like Active Campaign, and we'll analyze what they purchased. And we'll have different automations set up that says, okay, if someone purchased the general admission package, let's enter them into this automation where they're going to get several emails, text messages, whatever the case may be, retargeting ads that are going to encourage them to click through and upgrade their ticket to a VIP package or whatever kind of upgrades are available. We're always looking at that. Sometimes I'll work with like drive-through holiday type events where there's always an upgrade of like adding on the hot cocoa experience for your kids or adding on different kind of merchandise. So whether it's merchandise or upgrading your event experience, we're looking at ways to, again, activate our existing database to generate more revenue.
I really love that because you purchase a general admission ticket, having them go through that funnel where they can potentially purchase the VIP ticket or upgrade to somewhere in some other type of experience or activation that you might have. It's possible that you can have a different experience at your event. That's something that people can upgrade to that's not such a heavy lift. This was incredible, amazing. And I hope that you as a listener have learned some ways that you can tactically not only enhance registration for your event, but think through how you can build a hype in the beginning, raise a hype again at the end so that you can maximize the sales that come into your event. Before I let you go, Ashley, what is one last gem that you'd like to leave with the audience?
Ooh,
It could be business related, personal related.
Yeah, well, you mentioned something earlier that I thought was intriguing about one of your core values being fun. And I have read this book many times. It's a workbook, actually. It's actually, I think, right here on my shelf, if anyone's watching the video. But the book is called The Desire Map by Danielle Laporte. I believe you say her name. And this book has been so instrumental to me in building my career over the past 15, 16, 17 years. And every few years, I'll redo this workbook. And the whole concept of it is by the end of the workbook, you come out of it with 3 to 5 core desired feelings that you want to feel in your everyday life. And I cater those around my own life and how I build my business. And I mentioned I've done this several times. And every time I've done it, the words change a lot because you're in a new season of life, things change. But one word that has always come through for me is this sense of freedom. And I say that with a lot of privilege, being in the, we have a different definition of freedom than many others. And when I started my career, this idea of freedom was financial. Like I wanted to make money. I was young, super focused on building my business and making money. And that evolved because then I had children and then it became time freedom. I want to have more flexibility and time in my life to spend with my kids, but also take care of myself and have my business. And as I've grown even further, now it's become this idea of opportunity freedom, creating a business and life where I can choose what opportunities I want to take on and what I want to do day to day. And I've just really enjoyed this book. And I know you mentioned core values. And I think that if anyone has wanted to figure that out, this desire map is great.
I love that you shared about the different stages of your life too. I find that sometimes I'll read a book and I experience it one way and I have one understanding of it. But if I read it 2 years down the line, it's a whole different shift. And I'm like, wow, who read this book? I don't remember ever seeing this. I will definitely be picking up that book. And I do love Daniel Laporte. So I will for sure pick that up. And I encourage you all to, as you're navigating this entrepreneurial journey, I think it's so important for us to find time to spend time with ourselves and really check in with ourselves internally and think about what is it that's important to me and how best can I navigate this life. It's not just about business and not just about making money, but it's really about how can you live a life that is fulfilling. And so I'm so happy that you shared that and got us present to that once again, Ashley. And thank you so much for this conversation. I really enjoyed this topic and I love the work that you do. And I'm excited for our listeners to learn more and see what they're going to do with their events as a result of learning this new information. So with that said, I hope that you all caught these gems. Now let's fly.